Welcome to Charmed Life, a radio show discussing spirituality, magic, and the unconditional love of the universe. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Charmed Life. I'm Tricia Carr. I'm your host, and I'm broadcasting live on a special night because my normal time is Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific, and that is Christmas this year of 2016. So if you're watching this show now on UBN, just know that this is a pre-record. If you're watching it live, tonight is Thursday, the 22nd. Please do call in. We'll be taking calls, and I'm going to be doing a little discussion about some really amazing stuff. The subject today is how to make your wishes come true. And I'm sure that doesn't really interest very many of you because it's boring. Nobody wants it. Nobody likes it. I hate wishes. And you hear some giggles over there. I'm so excited to work with the wonderful John Williams. He is producing today.
Hi, honey. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so
really
happy
fun.
to be working with you today.
It's really fun. I know
Yeah.
I'm going to have to figure out how to do this like every week. I mean, I love Jarvis. I love Tony.
No,
But
we're a big
Thursday-
happy family here. so,
Yes, exactly. Maybe I could just rotate around.
Yeah.
And just be kind of like with all of y'all. So we are in we're live broadcasting from the Universal Broadcasting Network studios in Hollywood, California. And you know what? It's kind of peaceful right now in Hollywood. It just calms down around Christmas. So, and by the way, so like I said, if you're watching this on Christmas Day, or I guess if you're watching it right now, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and blessings for a new year. Hopefully next week I'm also going to do a pre-record because the following Sunday is New Year's Day. Is that right? Yeah, that's how it works. Works that way every year. So 323-524-2599 to call in and get a little reading or ask a question about what I'm talking about today. So like I said, I wanted to talk about how to make your wishes come true. So this is basically going to be a lesson in some of the universal laws. And I imagine that if you are catching this, whether you're catching it live or pre-record, as the recorded version that's up on my YouTube channel or as a podcast, you may already be familiar with at least the law of attraction. And hopefully you have found it useful, the principle. And I personally have been studying it now for a few years, but I seem to learn more and more about it every single year. It's really not as simple, certainly not as simple as The Secret had sort of displayed it to be. And I'm not talking down on The Secret because every teaching has its purpose and has its work. It became very popular, and if nothing else, it just put that word in people's ears who hadn't had it before. I remember when I saw that movie, I had already been studying Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle, and it was like The Secret, The Secret, The Secret, and I was like, watch this movie. What's The Secret? And I was like, oh, it's the law of attraction. Oh, okay. Well, it's not a secret.
Yeah, right.
But I get it. It's marketing, and it's catchy, and that's cool. That does what it's got to do. And sometimes it's okay if however something is delivered, if it just cracks you open, and then what you do after that is up to you.
Right.
Pardon me while I take a sip.
Oh, sure.
All right, so like I say, there's probably a good chance that you are familiar with the law of attraction in one way or another. So, and this will be primarily focusing about that topic, about the law of attraction, because we're talking about wishes coming true. But there are other universal laws that by understanding them, you can then better work with the law of attraction, sort of more that will support it. And I think that that's how it keeps opening itself up to me, to my understanding, or vice versa. Yeah. So knowledge is power. We are a mind, body, spirit mechanism. And just like an engine, like a car engine, you need all of the components to be able to function. And, your mind, it can tell you it can help you when you're spiritually struggling at the time. Yeah, obviously we're always thinking about opening our spiritual nature and depending on our spirituality, and we definitely should. But, when our body is compromised, we sometimes feel spiritually compromised and mentally. So each can help, each component can help the other. I had sort of a dark time, a couple of different dark things that have happened in the last 30 days. One, my bird died just last week. My
sorry.
Thank you. My sweet Captain Mexico parakeet. He passed away. And, according to the law of attraction, that is a point of attraction for me for a reason. And as he was just ill, when he was still just ill and he hadn't actually passed away yet, he was injured. I'm going into the whole thing. But he was in the hospital, and I was just like, my mind, even though my spirit, my heart was hurting, my mind reminded me, hey, look, you know that the best thing you can do is try to understand what you're learning from this. And it's not to say that, Captain Mexico had to suffer so that I could grow, but the fact is he was in the situation that he was, and it was my point of attraction, and which I'm going to expand upon in a bit. And so I just like, oh, okay, and just tried to ask the situation what it was I was learning from it. Because I knew mentally, I could remember, my intellect remembered the lesson that the way to start coming out of the suffering, no matter what happened to Captain Mexico, my bird, my husband points out that while I'm talking so sadly about my bird, that it can be distracting for people that his name is Captain Mexico. Like, my sad bird got Captain Mexico, and everyone's cracking up. My sweet bird. Anyway, I kind of like just, with bated breath, tried to start asking what this was teaching me. And what's amazing is, again, I won't go into the whole story, but I did learn this profound lesson that is really central to the kind of work that I do. And the morning that I actually channeled and took down all that information, he actually passed away after that. And he passed away at 11:11, which if you are watching the show, you may realize that is a big angel number. And again, don't look at it like, oh, maybe you should have not learned the lesson and then the bird would have survived. It's that, it's not that simple, but it was pretty profound. And so that's how the mind, body, spirit mechanism can work together. And that's why knowledge is power. Because if we learn a spiritual lesson or concept with our intellect, with our mind, it can support us in other ways. Obviously we know that high vibrational food like greens and fresh ingredients, those are high vibration spiritually, but they also benefit our bodies. Okay, so back to how do we make our wishes come true? So sometimes, like I say, when you're struggling, you can remember those universal laws, and then they'll help you to take action to get back into alignment like I did with Captain Mexico. And so how do we make wishes come true? Well, before we get to the law of attraction, I think that it's really important to understand a step one part of the process, which is a universal law called the law of cause and effect. So this states that for every effect there was a definite cause, and for every cause there was a definite effect. Moreover, every thought in the human mind is the cause of whatever effect there is, and it sets into motion some psychic energy that's within the universal mind, say the universal mind of God or the all or the universe, and that results in the effect, which is actually seen or experienced in the physical world. And that effect could be an event. It could be something that happens with someone's physical body, or, getting a brand new car. So the takeaway for that is to realize that the causal plane is within you, is within us, within each of us. I was just speaking with one of my oldest friends, one of my oldest best friends, Mo, that's her name in case she happens to be watching. I love you, Mo. We were talking yesterday. She's a life coach, and she works with this particular organization that teaches leadership programs. And she was explaining to me about this really great program that they have. It's called like 8 Steps to Mastery, or I'm not going to get it exactly right. I probably should have texted her before. But it's an 8-step program to help you to understand how to master your life. And one of the steps was to take responsibility for everything in your life. And that's what the law of cause and effect is pointing to, because you realize that the causal plane is within you, that your thoughts and your emotions are actually producing what is in your physical experience. So this is what I would do in understanding the universal law of cause and effect is that as you acknowledge that that causal plane is within you, you actually are able to shift from victimhood mindset to master mindset. So, that way that you're actually a creator, and rather than things happening to you. And so if you want to make your wishes come true, I think it's kind of important to realize that you are the maker of those wishes coming true. You're the creator. So what it means is that everything in you, what the law of cause and effect means, and how we can extend it a little bit, everything in your reality is a projection of your personal frequency. And so that's how we're getting back into the law of attraction. Personal frequency, the signal that you're sending out to the universe, basically the order that you're placing with the universe, just like a radio tower. So when now we're getting into the law of attraction, and essentially everything that is in your reality is a holographic effect of that causal plane of your inner vibration, or how you're calling out to the universe. You're placing your order. And sometimes when people are kind of really just starting to hear this concept, and they get presented with this as a reality, you kind of people might feel a little, because they're in that victim mindset, which I've been there, probably be there again, hopefully not too soon, but definitely will be there again. I mean, come on. But they protest when they're first understanding this, and they say, like, how could something horrible happen to me or to someone else, and you're saying that I'm the person who caused it? How could something terrible happen to a child? A child is innocent. And so this is just, when you're in that place, you kind of can't grasp it, because you are in the victim mindset, and it's contrary to understanding that you're a creator, and the understanding that you're a master. So it's probably best to just take a step back and maybe start with something really easy, like accepting the fact that you are the creator of something really easy in your life. Maybe the sandwich you had for lunch and it was great and it was delicious, or your relationship with your dog, or just something really simple, or this pen writes so well. How smart of me. I with my thoughts and my feelings, I eventually attracted this pen into my existence. Something really simple like that. That's a better place to start. And then just play around with it there. And then little by little, it's the kind of thing that you really have to believe to see. You can't force yourself, if you're in the victim mindset and suffering for yourself or someone else, you can't really force yourself to grasp it that way. So start small. So anyway, back to the topic at hand. So that frequency, by the way, that does create our experience, the reality. We hear, a lot of people, again, if you're watching this, you probably are a spiritual seeker or self-improvement enthusiast, and we've heard thoughts become things, and that is true. However, the thing that's really the more subtle part of that is that it's our emotions, actually our feelings, that is that literal signal. And our thoughts create our feelings sometimes, and our feelings affect the thoughts, kind of like that mind, body, spirit mechanism. So it's really how we're feeling that is a literal signal, just like a radio wave broadcasting out into the universe. I'm going to pause a second. You'll tell me if there's a caller or anything,
Sure.
right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
So
that literal, the frequency is literally composed of your feelings. So it is true, thoughts do become things because your thoughts affect those feelings, and that creates your signal. And so, and beyond that, even, I don't know if John, Abraham Hicks, I'm sure. Yeah. She's a really fantastic teacher, and she always says, she talks about beliefs by saying that a belief is just a thought you keep thinking, and I love that. That's a really simple way to understand beliefs, because sometimes beliefs are kind of, the connotation of them are about something that is much more defined, like your spiritual beliefs, whether you believe in God or you believe in a political candidate. But we have countless beliefs because we have thoughts that we just keep thinking. And, along the lines of beliefs, those beliefs, thoughts, emotions, all of those things or feelings, they're all rattling around in there. And that is how we are attracting whatever we're attracting into our lives, whatever the experiences. And that is actually how we kind of attract, or we create only part of our dreams, or we don't create all of our dreams, is because we have conflicting beliefs, these thoughts that we keep thinking. And some of them are conscious and some of them are not conscious. I coach people or work with people, and I'll have, very sensitive people, and they'll say things like, I know I'm supposed to take care of myself. That's the belief that they are expressing at that time and they're feeling. But I keep sacrificing myself for my loved ones, and you know what? They don't even appreciate it. So there's two beliefs right there, working against one another. And so what does she have in her life? People that don't even appreciate it. It's a conflicting situation that is a product, it's an effect of a conflicting cause. She's got all these different feelings that are rattling around in there. So the way that we can really start to clean up that vibration and to start to actually manifest or make our wishes come true is to clean up those feelings, to clean up that vibrational frequency, clean up those beliefs. And we do have a caller, so I'm going to put a pin in that there, and I will give some tips. But let's take a call right now.
All righty. So let's get to our first call. Looks like it's 512, and I think her name is Erica. That's correct.
Hi there. You're live on the air.
Hi. How's it going?
Good. How are you? Is your name Erica?
Yes, it's Eric.
Oh, Eric. Okay, cool. Is that with a K or a C?
It's I spell it with a C on my birth certificate. So.
Okay. Got it. Did you call in before, Eric?
I have called before.
I thought so. I recognize you.
I love listening, and I was like, I have some questions because we had to really go quickly, and I was like, I'm curious a little bit more because of what you mentioned, and I thought, maybe I can talk with her for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. No, welcome. Thank you for listening, and thank you for calling again. No, it was just a minute there because we had that exact same beginning of the conversation, and I was like, am I in the Matrix? I swear I had that same conversation.
I'm pretty sure you have the blue pill, maybe the red. I don't know.
I don't know. It's getting wacky in here, though. Anyway, what can I do for you today, Eric?
Well, I didn't get to mention that I work in film and television, and I was working previously in another city. I lived in Austin, Texas for a little bit doing that, and then I moved home, and you mentioned staying here for a while, but I was wanting to, pursue, if I want to really go anywhere in the industry, I need to get out more, and so I understand staying here for a while. You said I was really lined up to be here, and I'm looking at schools or whatever out there, and I have a hard time making connections with people here, and even finding work here, which makes me think that I shouldn't be here. But then you mentioned something about being, an entrepreneurial spirit, and I get that because when you work in the film industry, that's what you are, basically, is you are your own product, and and you sell whatever it is that you do. And so I just thought maybe I could get a little bit more help or insight on what you maybe feel or see kind of in the realm for me. Because, I can stay here. There's ministries and wonderful things to be a part of and people and things to connect. But I'm so worried to root too deeply here and, in 3 to 5 months or 6 months or whatever, have to uproot and leave again. You know what I mean? And
I totally do.
That's a disjustice to anything that I would need to do here. In my opinion, you need to really commit to a place and go somewhere. You know what I mean? So
I do.
Okay. You can help me.
I got you.
Sort through that.
Sure thing. So first of all, know that anytime you are having any kind of healing or reading, even if I'm not a doctor, but I'll just tell you, when you go to the doctor even, it's important to take the advice. Here's the deal, Eric. You're extremely sensitive, and I feel it, and I see it, and I hear it. And so do you know about yourself that you're an empath?
I do. I don't know how to grow in that area, but I do know that.
Okay.
And
so
I've seen that and utilized that some.
What I recognize in you and what I was being shown, and we're going to get to all those questions and the work and all that, discomfort. So I'll tell you this, as an empath, so the words that I offered to you, I was reading into your field and listening to your guides and helping to coach you in some areas that would be ways that you could relax and accept, because all of that, just being in an acceptance frame of mind of whatever it is, that's going to help you to continue to move forward. But what I feel happened is that some of the words that I said became a little particular for you, in that you took it on and you felt the conviction of it, but it didn't quite fit. But then you're like, but I feel it. And that's what empaths do. I'll give you an example. What I discovered about myself. When I take a class with someone, this even happened to me when I was in high school, I would do really poorly on the first test because I would feel the way the teacher was teaching as though it were my own experience, and then I would try to mimic it that way. But you can't. You have to process the information, turn it around, and then make it your own, and then let it be the recreator of it. So I would do really poorly because I was trying to wear a suit that didn't fit me. And then I would relax a little bit, and then I'd figure it out for myself. But I would always get a C on the first test, and I'd get A's after that. And so essentially, now as taking classes and being coached by people that are spiritual people, I was doing the same thing when I first started. I would try to take their way of doing it, and then I would become really blocked, because you really can't mess around with it when it comes to performing spiritual stuff. So I just want to give you that. And know that
when you mentioned being aligned, with staying, and I immediately, intuitively, like it was as if my vertebrae and everything did align, and said, yes, good. That totally makes sense with what I'm feeling right now, which is stay. But then
that's where you are
like,
that
but if
day.
I stay too long, that's my worry then becomes,
absolutely,
how long is too long, and how I can't. I feel as though I know that there's just more that I'm supposed to do and am meant to grasp after.
Of course.
I explained it to someone the other day, and I'll make this really short, but I explained it. It's like when you're a little kid, and there's a few days before Christmas, and the gifts are under the tree, wrapped up, and you just know something really great is under there, but you can't. You're not allowed, can't touch until December 25th. And so there's this, it's this anxiousness, but not anxiousness. It's this excitement that it says, I know what is there.
I get it. Yeah.
But I will patiently wait.
Okay. So this is what I'm getting for you too. But first of all, just to continue, I think that that day, since you did, like you said, you aligned, and then that makes sense that after that it didn't quite fit anymore. But you can release it. You can release it. It doesn't mean that it's going on perpetually, And also when you receive a psychic or intuitive reading, and it's about a future event, that is a snapshot that's based upon a snapshot of your absolute now. So you could make 10 radical decisions in the next 5 minutes, and that future is completely expired. It doesn't make sense anymore, because we have free will, because our feelings are always changing it. So you expressing that, I felt that alignment because that was the truth today, and even my spine aligned. Well, then that acceptance point is actually how you did change your future. So I agree with you.
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, and I agree with you when you first started talking. That I was seeing, start looking toward making some changes. I'm still, I'll tell you, and this again, you got to take this for yourself and produce it. I'm feeling New York or East Coast more than I'm feeling Los Angeles still. I feel like Los Angeles will come for you in maybe a little bit down the line. And again, this is a snapshot. This could be how you feel about it today. But that's what I'm getting right now. I think that
me too, definitely.
The thing that you need to focus on too is to know that, like as you said earlier, well, if I start something, then I'm gonna have to leave people. Well, first of all, that's a little bit of non-presence. You're worried about things in the future that aren't today, and then it's also a little bit of giving too much of worrying too much about others than you are concerned about actually bringing forth your own. Gifts and mission, right? You can when you're starting, you can always leave something. I mean, there are exceptions to that. If we're talking about beings that are physically depending upon us, that's different. But we're talking about doing some work that you're just perfectly welcome to terminate working if you get a better offer. But the reason that
that makes sense.
Yeah, so if you bring yourself a little more present into here's where I am now. How can I live my gifts today? I today in this moment live my divine purpose. That's actually an affirmation I would highly recommend you write down, because that puts you smack dab in the present. And it opens up your mind rather than worrying about 3 months or 6 months from now. I live my divine purpose, and I live it today and the now. My gifts, my creativity, I own that. That's in my heart. That's in my being. How do I live that today? And if that means that you just sing today in your house, because that's how you're expressing your creative gifts that day, then that's appropriate.
I got that. Okay.
Yeah, good. So I think, darling, you need to get healthier as an empath. I would say go to, and just like you said, you don't really know how to do it. Oh, I have, the 2 or 3 episodes ago, I had a guest on named Cameron Gelman, who is a young man who is an empath, and we talked a lot about this. I would love for you to go back and watch that episode, because we do give some literal tips in that. I would also...
I was just curious, because I've always wondered how to train that and get it, make it stronger and even maybe utilize it for other people.
Beautiful. And that's exactly why you have it.
I was always told, or I always understood that you learn from other empaths, and that's
definitely
how that works. But I don't know that I'm around any, so I'm sure they're around.
Well, I'll tell you, I do this kind of work. I train people to be healthy, skilled empaths. I know the process well, and the person who first trained me on it is her website is The Happy Sensitive. She's wonderful. Her name is Carly.
I've seen that.
You have? Good. She's
years
wonderful.
ago. Maybe a couple of years back or a year back or something.
Ding, ding,
but
ding.
I have heard of that.
Oh, she's wonderful. Her name's Caroline van Kimmenad. She does like these different courses for highly sensitive people and for empaths. Go check. And she also has wonderful blogs and all kinds of, just free resources. Check out The Happy Sensitive. She's amazing. Changed my life.
I will.
And
perfect.
Yeah. Darling, I just want to tell you, there's also, I see, there's a mail guide. Hold on one second. This person is on your father's side, but he's showing himself as a younger man. Younger as in, it seems to be maybe a person in their 40s. So, dark hair. This is a guide. And so he just put his hand on your shoulder, and he's telling me to remind you that you're never alone, that you're always supported, and that you do kind of run around the world. He's actually showing me an image, giving me this image of like an anxious little, what's that dog called? Terrier, Jack Russell Terrier, like a little anxious guy trying too hard, and thinking that you're on your own. And so he's putting his hand on your shoulder just to remind you that you can feel his presence and feel the presence of divine with you all the time, that you're never alone, that you are completely inseparable from divine. So you are taking the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're taking other people's issues upon yourself, and you're completely losing yourself in that mix. And so some deep breaths, maybe do 10 deep breaths when you're feeling like I would do that 3 times a day. And that right there will help you to expand and change and calm and all that kind of stuff.
Wonderful. That definitely, I received that.
Take one.
Good. I absolutely agree. I don't know who male is, but
I think it's an ancestor. It's an ancestor guide, so it doesn't feel like, and he's shaking his head like you don't know him, but you have a familiar energy with him. So if you meditate, you can just know that you have this beautiful representation, this strong presence, and he's got your back and he's supporting you. And he's saying you're very I'm hearing you're clairsentient clearly, but you're also clairaudient. So if you expanded your meditation practice and started asking some questions, you would actually start to get some messages, and he would be the first guide that you would start to hear.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
definitely. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, sweetheart. Thank you for calling in again, Eric. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
I
good
will,
luck.
and I'm sure we'll hear from each other again. I might call some other time. And
I would love that.
Hope you have a wonderful holiday, and I appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful.
You too. Merry Christmas.
Right.
Happy holiday.
I think it was excellent advice, Tricia. Yeah,
Thank
excellent
you.
advice. a lot of times with empaths, we end up taking on other people's energy, and then we don't
Mhm.
know what it is that we want for ourselves.
Yeah.
So we get, distracted. We get impulses that are just intense, and we don't even know if it's us or if it's other people's expectations of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just telling my coaching. I had a coaching call today with a couple of my clients,
Mhm.
and I was telling them that the Myers-Briggs test, the
yeah.
personality test.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one that gives you the 4 initials like ENFJ, INFP, all that kind of stuff. And I used to take those when all of my life. I took those when I was a kid.
I did too.
And I couldn't. I didn't know how to answer. Do you
I'm
have the experience?
the same way. Yeah, it's sort of like it's hard to make a decision, right? When
I could feel all of those
when it gives
things.
the multiple choices, right? Yes,
Yeah.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm with you the same way. Yeah, and that's the thing with empaths. We're
I
so
don't know what
tuned
my
into
own
other
voice
people's
is.
energies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I looked into astrology and all that, because that was personalized
that'll help.
for me, and then
Yeah.
numerology was personalized for me.
Yes.
Versus these personality tests where I'm picking up other bits of other people's personalities and thinking it's
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I would take that, and I remember I would take it, and I would go, I'm going to just take it 3 times in a row because I don't know how to answer these questions
Yeah.
because I feel them all.
Right.
So then after I did get healthy learn I was an empath,
Yeah.
become healthier, the happy sensitive Carlene,
Yeah.
went through her course, all this kind of stuff. And actually my spiritual gifts started opening up. It really became that healthy kind of empath, as Eric was saying he wanted to become.
Yeah.
I was like, to take the Myers-Briggs test again.
Yeah.
I took it and I was like, know me. Yes, I know exactly who I am in this. I can take that test now.
So you had the boundaries of the assertiveness of
I know
knowing
where I
who
am.
you are.
I know who I am. I know
Yeah.
where I am. And by the way, I'm an INFJ. If you're familiar with it,
Intuitive feeling, judgment, and what's
it's introvert. Yeah, introvert.
There you go. Yeah.
Introvert is the I, N
Yeah.
is intuitive, F is feeling,
INFJ.
judgment. Yeah,
Yeah.
judging. So INFJ is the lowest percent of the people, like the fewest.
Helping others to see their purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the few. It's like it has like 1%, and they say less than 1% of the population are INFJ because it's 1% of the people who take Myers-Briggs. Less than 1% are INFJs, and so when I took it, I was like, of course, because sign me up for the 1% of anything. If there's a side effect, for a vitamin, only 1% of the people get. I will
you'll
get
get
it
that.
because
Okay.
I'm that sensitive.
That's funny.
But it's also the INFJ is people who are uncomfortable identifying with the term empath or something like that. They do identify with INFJ because it's scientific. So.
Okay. I just have on the screen right now the INFJ personality for those who are watching, so
Yeah.
they can read a little bit about it. But it's interesting because it says you're the advocate, helping to see others see their purpose. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. Well, that's maybe
The
hopefully-
rescuer, charity work,
Yeah.
passion from that. Yeah,
And that's what
interesting.
Eric was. Just
Yeah.
now, if you're still listening, Eric.
Right, and he's
Aren't you
also
a rescuer?
he's an actor too, so
Yeah.
that would make a lot of sense being an empath too, taking on all those different personality traits
yeah.
in order to be a successful actor, right?
Well, and I was an actor when I was a kid, and all the
Ah.
way through most of my 30s, even. And I realized, 2 things actually from that experience that. That this intuitive process or this spiritual gifts, it's exactly like creativity.
Yeah.
And that's what Laura Powers and I talked about on a few shows ago. It's the exact same process because you are. I mean, it's not all woo woo and spooky, really.
Right.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's you're sitting down to my husband's a composer. He needs a melody. He's gonna write a melody. He's sitting there with nothing. He clears his mind, and then here comes something.
Yeah,
It's
that's
exactly the same thing.
That's very powerful, actually, that you say that, because I just started playing piano, and I don't play piano, so I'm channeling the music,
Yeah.
and my hands are just going to whatever keys, and it's angels that are basically putting this information through me, and I'm just putting it out on the keyboard because I'm being led to
Wow.
press what keys, and I get chills every time I talk about it, just because that to me is a perfect example of spirituality, of letting go and just trusting that you'll be guided.
Wow.
And
but this is a past life thing, though, too, that your hands know it so well.
Yeah, I think I think that is true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just now discovering that though, this late in life, that I've, because ever since I was a kid I've always wanted to play, and been very passionate about, when I would sing I would always just act like I'm playing the piano, right? But
Yeah.
then just in the last month and a half I sat down and I just started, and it's beautiful. I mean, I'm blown away by
my
when I go
gosh.
back and play it back. I'm just like,
Oh,
and
I
I'm
would love
still
to
in
hear
disbelief that it's me, but I know that it's a channel.
Yeah.
And and then I had a little reading, and the reading came through saying that I'm working with the angel Sandalphon.
Oh yeah, he's a
which
musical,
you never heard of before. So
musical archangel.
Yeah.
He oversees. I told my husband he's a composer. I told him that Archangel Sandalphon would be a connection for him too. Yeah, that's amazing. I would love to hear some of it. That's fascinating.
Yeah,
it definitely feels like past life to me. Like you're remembering it, because here's the thing. Also with, just like with any other creative process, the spiritual gifts process is the same thing. You do actually need to practice, and there's a technical skill to it, but you're remembering the technical skill.
Well, I did it with my eyes closed, and this is it. I'll play it real quick.
Oh my gosh.
And it gives me chills every time I hear it, just because I know that was me trusting spirit to play through me.
That's incredible.
Never
You
play
don't
piano,
play.
ever.
You're playing chords, though.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what's so shocking about the whole experience.
I hope my husband is watching.
So that's one example of it, and then
That's
I went back and
wild.
thinking, I don't think I can do it again, and then I went back and I trusted that I could do it again, and this is what I played. I was angry at the time I played this, because my friend told me to go and put it into the piano, so I did this. You hear the finger work, it's different.
Yeah.
Hear
That
that?
is shocking.
I'm still in disbelief by the whole but I'm trusting, and I'm trying not to say I'm in disbelief, and I'm not, but it is shocking.
This is like, you're like a music channel.
Yeah.
This is wild. But you're gonna. Oh, that's fascinating. You're gonna improve your technical skill, and then, oh my gosh, can you imagine?
Well,
what
see,
you're gonna
that's
bring
the thing.
forth?
That's what I kind of want to ask you is, like, should I even look into playing piano if I'm channeling it? So
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because here's the deal. For example, that you're only going to be elevating the possibilities. It's endless. Spirit is endless. The universe is, there's actually, that's one of the laws I was going to talk about, the universal law of plenty.
Okay.
So it's endless. So if you raise your technical skill and you agree with it and you lean into it more with everything that you have, it's going to just, there's no place it can't go.
Yeah.
So, you're technically, a lot of people say it's not to, do readings for or do healings for your family or friends, because there's no place for discovery. And, a lot of mediums, and there's something too, like, don't tell me too much so that we can have discovery. Right. But even if I know everything about you, there's more that I don't know. And spirit can bring that through. Spirit can knock your socks off every time.
Yeah.
So I can give a reading to my husband, and I know him more intimately than anyone, that will shock him.
Right.
I can. It's not me.
Right.
I'm
the
saying,
channel. Yeah.
Yeah. But
the vessel.
Universe. The universe isn't infinite.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think so, because it's a gift, and I definitely think you should just lean into it with everything that you can. As you want.
I'm just so grateful for the whole thing, because ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to play, and then I just can't believe what I'm doing.
You do.
I really am disbelief about the whole thing, just because I feel like I walked into another world, and in this world I can play piano. It's so bizarre, and I keep saying those words just because it's so hard to grasp that this is really happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
I definitely think you should, take lessons and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Keep it, and you'll go through the things that we go through when we're learning something. You'll feel like you're getting blocked, especially because you're an empath, and put expectations.
Right. Yes.
But that's all knocking off the dust.
Okay.
But the other thing too, you've already become. This is actually, I'm getting a message for you.
Okay.
So you've already become. There are plenty of places in your life you've already become very. You excel at. So just know that you can take that model of how you've excelled at something else and snap it onto this, so it can be a very smooth ride too if you allow it to be. So it's all about allowance, which is what we were trying to get Eric into as well.
Exactly.
Is allowance.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hearing a lot about him just learning to, like, and you said it, release. Release is very, very important for him, because it's a overflowing of other people's energies and just letting that go in mindfulness. And that's why I got into the piano. That was the only time I ever really felt like I was having a communion with spirit in a major way.
Oh, wow. And music is so, because it's vibration. I mean, it's just pure energy.
And then when you trust, just to let your fingers go, and then you're playing these notes. And I said that at the end of the recording because I was in such disbelief. I'm like, I guess this is a message to me of just trusting and that spirit will lead. And it's in life, if we just trust, we'll be guided to beautiful places. We'll see beautiful things. We'll do beautiful things. So,
yes.
And that was just a faith, and what's the word where faith becomes works, where you actually see from spirit manifest into physical, and that's what this was for me.
Yes, and faith is really about just that complete place of allowance. It's just complete presence and allowance. It's faith is about that's all it is, and that's what I talked about 2 weeks ago. It's just allowing the universe to give you everything, the endless, the limitless supply, and just identifying with the abundance of the universe, and rather than identifying with the duality side of it, of lack. Because the universe is within you. God consciousness is within us, and completely inseparable from us. And so that's all faith is allowance. It's the state of allowance.
Wow.
Do we have another call right now?
Let's see. We do.
Oh, we do. Okay.
Let's see if we do. No, we don't.
Okay, cool. Well, that's fine. Because I love to give these tips before we run out of time.
Yeah. Let's see here.
All right. Let me see. Let me get back to my notes to where I was. Okay. So the reason that wishes, I said that they only partially come true, or they don't come true, is despite your best efforts, is because of all of those conflicting beliefs. So, the way that you can actually start to hone in and clean up your vibration, meaning clean up the feelings and the thoughts and the beliefs. Well, part of it is to do some kind of shadow work. Shadow work is, the shadow is the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind. The shadow is what Carl Jung called it. And basically we take parts of ourselves that we believe will cause us to be rejected from our social group. When we're very young, it's our family, it's our parents. We put it into the shadow because as a child, we come into this plane and we're relationally dependent because we can't survive physically without adults, without parents. And what's that noise?
I think what it is it's someone's logging into the call center. It's not us. So,
how weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so pardon
yes.
us. It's Mercury retrograde.
Right.
Weird technical stuff happens. But the shadow. So we put things into the shadow and we put them away, and we kind of attach them to the need to survive because we believe being rejected by the social group means death. So we have a lot of beliefs rattling around in that shadow, and we're not really conscious of that. We have, like I said, we have conscious beliefs that are conflicting with the positive beliefs, and we have unconscious ones as well.
Right.
So a little bit of that shadow work to actually release some of that stuff, and the process is actually very empowering. It isn't something that is disempowering and painful. And actually a really effective way to start to work on some of those beliefs is affirmations. Affirmations are basically we have two types of meditation. One is called contact meditation, where we're attempting to contact divine or the universe. And one is control meditation, where we're attempting to program our subconscious mind or our mind. So affirmations. And when we remove a belief, if we want to remove a belief, we can't just remove it and leave a void. There's no such thing.
Okay.
So when we focus on a belief that we want to enhance, it can grow in the feelings that we feel from that belief. I know I should take care of myself. I should take care of myself. I take care of myself. That's a better affirmation. That's a better, I take care of myself. And doesn't that feel good?
Right.
Because that you're your own caretaker. That starts to outseat, because it grows, the feelings create more of that psychic energy, and then it starts to push out that belief of, I have to sacrifice myself. And so the affirmations are very, very powerful. And you can actually look at your holograph of your life. I'm keeping my eye on the time. You can actually look at your life as the holograph that is the effect of the causal plane being your feelings, that frequency. And you can analyze it. And you can backtrack and you can say, okay, let's just take something silly like my car. It sucks, and you can analyze what's going on, what the car represents and what it represents to you and how you feel about it and why you don't feel that you can pursue getting a nice, whatever. You can backtrack it to the beliefs, the ones that are the ones you want to release, the limiting beliefs. you can trace it back to those beliefs and then turn those beliefs into affirmations or the positive beliefs that you have about a car or something. And often when you're analyzing that, there's all kinds of things. It's more about self-worth and all that kind of stuff. So it's really powerful. Then you just turn it on its head and create a little practice of positive beliefs that you're going to enhance, placing your attention on them. I often will put them on my phone so that when I'm standing in line, I look at them. And, you could also, rather than writing the affirmations yourself, you can go look them up. So if you discover that your car is representing something about lacking self-worth, go Google affirmations for self-worth and find one that makes you go, yes. And that practice, it takes hardly any time at all, can start to shift things for you. And anyway, it feels good when you read those affirmations, so why not do that? Do we have time for one more call?
I think we do, yeah.
Okay, cool. So,
all right, so let's go to 847, area code 847.
Hi there, you're on the air.
So let's see here.
Oh, not yet.
Yeah.
Tricia, it's Lynette.
Lynette, we are Facebook friends. Lynette, I don't want to say your last name starts with a C, right?
Yes. Yes.
Hi. How are you? How are you? What's going on?
I've been watching the whole time, and I thought, I'm going to try to call in.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. What's going on
I'm
with
good.
you today?
How are you?
I'm great. I'm really looking forward to the weekend. How about you?
I am too. Getting together with all the kids, so I'm excited.
All right, great. Well, what can I help you with today?
Well, as I told you before, I'm always like trying to connect with my guides. I meditate like crazy, and you told me I had guides all around me. But I'm still having trouble connecting with them. I was just wondering if maybe they give you a little advice on how I can connect with them. My dreams are getting clear and all that good stuff, but
Great.
I'm just still having a little bit of trouble, and someone told me I was an empath. You didn't tell me that, and I really trust you more.
Okay.
But I was wondering, did you see that? Do you see me as an empath or no?
Okay, well, let me backtrack and give you the information that I am getting, and then we'll see if we get there as well.
Okay, good.
I see a primary female guide that is tapping on your shoulder, and she is the one who is feeling like she can get through to you first. And so are you dream journaling? You said your dreams are getting clearer. Are you dream journaling?
Yes, I'm dream journaling.
Okay.
Yes.
And are you finding messages there? Not really. A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, not really. No, not messages.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, cool. So here's the deal you can do with the dreams too, is that before you go to sleep, the deal is you're doing a little too much effort, and you're trying, and the trying is a non-present thing. Trying is I'm not there yet, and so that's actually the feeling that you have, and that is the frequency that you're emoting out into the universe. Trying because I'm not there yet. So with the dreams, let's go back to the dreams. It feels like, I know it feels like a catch-22, but with the dreams, it feels like she is saying to me that the way that she wants to utilize your sleep, and actually she's just because she's standing forward, but you have a gatekeeper who's a little further away, who's actually really in charge of the dreams. She wants to use these as attunement times. So be open to that before you go to sleep. Welcome your guides, angels, to give you an attunement that would bring you closer to your highest good, bring more love and light through you and everyone involved. That kind of language, because it feels really good when you welcome that way. Now I'll tell you that if it's important to you, because it's usually important to me, I ask this, but I also ask for deep, peaceful sleep so that I can, feel okay tomorrow. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to get really specific, because I've had those nights where I have attunements and that then, I'm awakened by a voice or a light or something, and it's not scary, it's beautiful. And that those nights were fine that happened, but, I can't have that happen every night. Some nights I can't have it happen.
Right.
So, so that's what.
So ask for an attunement. I'm writing all this down this time.
Good. Okay. So that's where we are with the dreams right now. But go ahead and keep journaling them. But attuning is the interest for that right now. Okay. So now the next thing I'm getting is that you're clairaudient. So your meditation time? I'm feeling that you have been doing some guided meditation. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
everyone I can get my hands on. I've listened to probably 100 people.
Okay. So but are you spending some time at the end of it without the guide and continuing to stay in that space? Yeah. You are. Good. Okay. So I'm feeling, are you doing that for about like 5 to 10 minutes?
Sometimes like 2 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I just stay in it, and just I wait.
Okay, that's perfect. But
I wait?
In that process, we're doing the waiting is a little efforting, is a little trying, and it's you are taking this on as though it's you. It's about you efforting, and what it needs to be is about contact and becoming and realizing that it isn't you. What happens is you actually just blend into the all. And you are the all. I mean, we are blended into the all already. So rather than trying and taking the responsibility, it's just being even deeper present. Ask the question. Ask who are my guides, or how, whatever it is you want to know about a guide. If you want to see or hear or have a name, ask it and then let it go and almost like try to forget about it. And don't worry and release it. And you don't hear anything that day, just do it again and be very present and patient. And eventually, but it's again, you got to try to get in that place. And even if it's for just a second, Jesus said that all we need is the faith of a mustard seed, which is a very, very tiny little thing, and we can tell the mountains to go into the sea. So you just need a little bit of presence to get a big effect. A little bit of faith, a little bit of allowance. Faith, like we said a moment ago, is allowance. So you just need a little bit, and that's all. And faith and all that, it's just allowance. So right now you've been trying and you've been chasing, and I know from chasing boys on the playground when I was in 5th grade, that doesn't work out well. They never become your boyfriend.
I you, Tricia.
No. Okay, so you wanted to know, do we have another second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hold on one second. Okay, darling, I'm getting highly sensitive person. Right, okay, that's what I'm getting right now.
Sensitive.
Yeah, I'm getting highly sensitive, and I got my little angel flash to tell me highly sensitive person. So that is very, and I understand, that's very much like very similar, I'll say, symptoms of an empath. You can basically take a lot of I address empaths and highly sensitive people together because, the distinction really is that empaths feel other people's emotions as though they are their own. It feels like they just came right from us, and the thoughts. Whereas highly sensitive people are very close to that. You pick up all of the energies. You walk into a room and you know how everyone is feeling, and you're very self-sacrificing and all that kind of stuff. So you can actually look up highly sensitive person. Again, go to the Happy Sensitive. She works with highly sensitive people. I can, if you will, hit me up on my Facebook page, and I have a blog that I've written about it, so I'll send you a link to that. Or if you go to my,
okay.
Yeah.
Good, great.
Yeah. So that's what I'm getting, and it's but a very similar way to take care of yourself as empaths have. So. But don't take that as gospel. If you down the line identify as empath, you are the one. But that's just what I'm being given to tell you right now is highly sensitive person.
Highly sensitive sounds better.
HSP. It is better.
I like that. And I'm gonna look up. Clairaudient. I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's clear.
I not know that?
It's clear hearing. Clairvoyance is clear seeing. It's our extra sense of seeing. Clairaudient is extra sense of hearing, and that doesn't preclude you from having any of the other clair senses. It's just the one that I was shown that you have. That's what I was told today. So, all right.
Wonderful.
I think we're just about out of time. Wonderful. But it was so nice to talk to you, Lynette. Thank you for calling.
So much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
I just love you, and you have such a nice holiday.
Oh, you as well. Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you. Bless you.
So I think that's our show today, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in to Charmed Life today. And I hope to see you in the new year at 11 a.m. Pacific on ubnradio.com or on my Facebook profile, which is at Tricia Carr Charm. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.